4 more pills free. You save more than $500. You don't have to be a rocket scientist to know what to do next. You need to call and get your 44 pills for just $99. Stop overpaying for the other blue pills. Call us and start saving a ton of money for the exact same results. Ordering is fast and easy with your pills delivered to your door in a non-marked package. 800-223-0992. 800-223-0992. 800-223-0992. That's 800-223-0992.
Good afternoon and welcome to Picks and Parlays Radio here on the Sports Byline Broadcast Network. I am your host, Chelsa Messenger. You can find me every day on Twitter. My handle is just my name, @Chelsa Messenger. If you want to drop me a line or a comment, something funny. Also check us out on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. We stream the show live there every weekday, 1 Pacific, 4 Eastern. If you search Picks and Parlays, we're very easy to find if you want to hit us up that way. And we also have a nice little chat going on during the show and with our YouTube page. We've got a great show coming back from this Labor Day weekend. It's Tuesday, September 3rd, and on the docket for today, we've got college football with Chip Chirimbus, Nebraska, Colorado, which I was not aware, but it is a big rivalry game. Nevada at Oregon, 2 teams coming off polar opposite games where Nevada had that heartbreaking win, I guess, for Purdue, because Nevada hit that last-second field goal, a 56-yarder by a walk-on. What a win for Nevada. Meanwhile, Oregon, they were the ones suffering a little heartbreak. I got a little confused on that one. But, yeah, a heartbreaking loss for Oregon in that primetime game against Auburn. Can they bounce back? Stanford at USC, a very interesting one because of the quarterback situation for USC. And then, of course, we did not forget, it's NFL Week 1. We've got several games on the docket today to go over, and we've got some nice strategies for your betting on Week 1 of NFL. And finally, of course, we also have our baseball picks of the day because I know it's football season, but you know what? You can still cash some tickets on a daily basis. We've got 3 games to talk about and 3 ways to win. Last night, of course, that Notre Dame-Louisville game. Hope you took our advice, and we hope you took the under and the underdogs. What a game. Louisville looked really good. I don't know if they hated Bobby Petrino last year or if Scott Satterfield's a much better coach, but exciting things for Louisville fans. Obviously, it's still a loss, but much better than last season. As I mentioned, a great show. After the break, we're talking college football. Stick with us on Picks and Parlays Radio.
Hall of Fame catcher Johnny Bench for Blue Emu. Hemp oil is everywhere, but not every hemp oil product is made the same. Now introducing Blue Emu Plus Hemp Oil. Why not trust the Blue Emu brand that has been the #1 selling emu oil brand for over 5 years? Blue Emu Plus Hemp Oil has been organically grown. It is pesticide-free, non-GMO, made in the USA, and most importantly, odor-free.
Order Blue Emu Plus Hemp Oil today on Amazon or the Blue Emu website.
Tired of wearing the same 5 shirts every week? We can help. Stitch Fix is a personal styling service that matches you with your own stylist. Someone who listens to what works for you and delivers clothes right to your door. So you take the hassle out of shopping and find new styles that leave you feeling great. It starts with a simple profile you create in just minutes. Explore different styles and leave notes for your stylist about what you like. For a small $20 styling fee, your clothes are hand-selected for you based on your profile, and then delivered to you so you can try them on in the comfort of your own home. Pay only for what you keep and send everything else back. Plus, the styling fee is applied to what you keep, and shipping, returns, and exchanges are always free. With Stitch Fix, you'll get access to great looks ranging from refined to rugged, and everything is hand-selected to fit your physique and your budget. Discover the stylist and styles that work for you at StitchFix.com. Personal styling for men, women, and kids. StitchFix.com. Personal styling for everybody.
Attention to anyone that's written a book or wants to write a book. The process is not that complicated. Take a first step. Even if you write a page a day, you'll build momentum and your book will become a reality. The hard part is getting it published. That's when you need to call Page Publishing. They've got hundreds and hundreds of thank yous from different new authors, just like you. They make the process of publishing your new book and getting it sold online a simple process. You can learn how simple it is right now by calling for your free Page Publishing New Author Submission Kit. One quick 3-minute phone call, that's all it takes to get free information and learn how you can get your book published. Pick up your phone right now and call us 24 hours a day at this number. 800-603-0885. 800-603-0885. 800-603-0885. That's 800-603-0885.
Now's the time to travel and be with the people you care about the most. And at Holiday Inn and Holiday Inn Express, we're helping you be there for less. Save at least 25% at thousands of hotels worldwide if you book by September 24th. You won't want this moment to pass you by. So book today at holidayinn.com. Terms and conditions apply.
And welcome back to Picks and Parlays Radio here on the Sports Byline Broadcast Network. I'm your host, Chelsa Messenger, on this fine Tuesday afternoon after a nice little Labor Day weekend full of college football, full of excitement. And you know what? We're ready for more. Let's talk more college football. Let's start with Week 2 with Chip Chirimbus. Chip, what'd you think of Week 1?
Well, I was really glad that Stanford went the full 60 minutes because I was able to cover just as the gun was going off. And that was the best thing I can say about my Saturday. Oregon, of course, slipped at the end. I mean, they make a tackle at the 6, Tony, instead of letting a guy go right into the end zone. The field goal would change all of our fortunes.
I know. They left a lot of points on the field. Yeah. That missed field goal was...
It always seems to happen with them when they're playing in this type of game. You know, when Oregon gets in that big spot, they always seem to fall short for one reason or another. And here they come up a 23-point favorite.
I was going to say, so what have you learned from betting Oregon? We've got Nevada and Oregon this week. Oregon ranked 11th in the nation, a very good team. Justin Herbert showed a lot of good things in Week 1. Nevada coming off that huge win over Purdue, last-second win with a 56-yard field goal. We talked about altitude being a factor maybe.
Right.
Maybe the ball traveled a little farther. But yeah, it's two teams emotionally on two sides of the coin. Oregon coming off heartbreak. Nevada, I mean, can they level their emotions enough?
I think you put a key to it. Can the Ducks rebound from that type of loss, and can they come back with a really strong performance? I really don't know. I question it, but a 23-point favorite might give you an answer. Nevada, by the way, is 6-2 in their last 8 overall. That's against the points, of course, but they're only 2-6 against the road. I have a couple of interesting stats about this one, Chelsea. That Oregon has such a poor team to play on. They've only covered 13 times in their last 41 games out. They're 1-5 in non-conference games, but they will hang their hat on this. In September of 2010, they did play the same Nevada team, and they haven't played since. They won that game. They won the game 69-20. And that was when Nevada was led by Colin Kaepernick. So I think Oregon can do it this time. Nevada, of course, is going to be sky high off the win they had, and I'm looking for Oregon to fight back. Even though all the trends, Chelsea, tell us, you're supposed to be on Nevada here, and that maybe Oregon is down and downtrodden after that loss. I'm coming back with them anyway.
You could look at it another way in that Oregon, I guarantee you, this week in practice, they're going to have great practices every week, every day.
Well, you know, they didn't play an entirely bad game. They moved the ball. I mean, the offensive yardage between both teams was comparable. It was very, very close. And we're talking about a team, Auburn, an SEC team that was a 4-point favorite on a neutral site here. So it isn't like they didn't do a representable showing. but the Pac-12 again has failed. Hawaii,
I know.
Hawaii beats Arizona. We have UCLA going down to Cincinnati, and Oregon, the big one. They were really looking to hang their hat on. They fall short at the end.
To be fair, I thought Oregon's offensive line looked really good against a defensive line at Auburn that was supposed to be one of the best in the country, and they held them off pretty well. So that's encouraging. I think if you watched the game, you saw how good Oregon is. The thing we're looking at is if they can cover a 23-point spread.
Well, the last time they met, when I said the score was 69-20, they gained over 600 yards offensively in that game. But their big bugaboo has always been defense. They haven't been able to come to big defensive play in that game. Nevada had over 400 yards on offense as well. So I see a lot of scoring, a lot of points here. This is a fun game, sort of a hate bet. I got to come back with Oregon after losing with them last week. So I'm going to say, get the Lucky Ducks.
All right, let's move on to Nebraska at Colorado, a rivalry game, which I just learned this week from listening to their press conferences. I guess these teams do not like each other. Nebraska coming off a win that was, I wouldn't say impressive, 35-21 over South Alabama, and Colorado with that 52-31 win over Colorado State.
Well, there's no question Colorado's win was more impressive, Chelsa. I mean, here they come beating a rival, and here's Nebraska against South Alabama's a 27-point favorite, and it takes a fumble recovery and interception return for them to win the game. Otherwise, it was a dead standstill at 21-21. But there's some key factors in this game, and they've been rivals because they've actually played for the championships since these conferences have been rearranged. Realigned is the term I was looking for. And, of course, Nebraska's 12-3-1 in their last 16 on the road, and they're 21-8 in their last 21 out there. So they are a point spread juggernaut, and yet Colorado seems to have their number at home. In the last 5 meetings overall, they've won 4 of the last 5, and as an underdog, Colorado is 12-4 in their last 16. Chelsa, these trends clash big time here. And right now, I think it's a little too early in the week for me to give you the answer, because I'm going to have a definitive answer on picks and parlays that'll be loaded up Thursday night for you for the Saturday game between Colorado and Nebraska. It's part of my overall package, Chelsea. So I don't want to give too much away right now. It's going to be a great winner for you. Log on, follow by links, and become a winner.
Right. I mean, just from watching the press conferences, these two teams do not like each other. I believe their quarterback, Adrian Martinez, was hurt last season against Colorado, so there might be some bad blood there. So I think these teams are going to be up for this game for sure. The question is if Nebraska's offense can be as good as we thought it was going to be, because last game it was the defense that really bailed them out. They had 2 defensive touchdowns. Yep. So we'll see. Let's move on to Stanford and USC. USC dealing with some injuries. Their quarterback is now out for the season. JT Daniels will not play. So that's definitely a factor, and I think the line has moved because of that. I think I have it at -3, USC.
That's what it is. It opened a little higher, and I think the difference in programs. But how about that easy win I had with Stanford, Chelsea? I can't get over that one. I really had given up on that one, fumbling on that. As the horn goes off, we get the big win here. So Stanford, I have a little something for the Cardinal here. They're 5-1 against USC the last 6 times they played them. They are 6-1 and 6-2-1 on the road against the number, and they're 7-2 at USC. Now, USC's coming here. They lose their All-American quarterback, potential All-American quarterback.
I was going to say,
he wasn't All-American as of yet. But USC's 1-4 in the last 5 against the Pac-12, and they're only covered 7 of the last 28 outright. If you're going to go by the numbers and the trends, without referring to the emotional factor here and what the unknown, and the unknown here is the quarterback for Southern Cal. Is he going to emerge? Is he someone in the wings? Because I've had a very good friend in this business say all the time, once someone gets injured, a star is born. And you could ask Wally Pipp. He had to sit out for 2,100 games after Lou Gehrig got his shot. So who knows what's going to happen here. But the backup is definitely going to be there for Southern Cal, and it sort of gives my edge psychologically to Stanford, who always seems to play well against this team, other than the fact that Stanford had that miracle cover last week. They had the game won, but still, their approach for Southern Cal, this is the opening conference game of the season. I think it's a big game for both of them.
I think that was one of those games, that Northwestern-Stanford game, that you either love betting afterwards or you hate betting.
Well, you know, it was juxtaposed because we had the same thing happen with the Auburn game, with Auburn and Oregon. So we won one, we lost one, and it's the nature of the game. That's why we call it gambling. I mean, nobody wins every day.
Talked about this before the show. It's college kids. Sometimes it's unpredictable. These coaches can scheme all they want, but at the end of the day, it's execution. And I mean, we saw 3 fumbles back to back last night.
I was just going to say that 3 consecutive plays, 3 consecutive fumbles in the Louisville Notre Dame game. And like you said, these are young 19-year-old kids. Some of them even younger than that, because a lot of freshmen are starting. And
that's been a trend this year, is true freshman quarterbacks starting.
Yeah, and because their development at a younger age in high school now is so progressive. I mean, these kids are now 6'4", 6'5", and they can throw the ball.
Running a pro-style offense in high school.
Offenses in high school, absolutely. And they're so much more prepared, better than, say, 20 years ago.
Right. I think for Stanford, the difference for me is their defense. Their defense was really strong against Northwestern, only allowing 7 points. So I think that's going to be the factor in this one, and maybe even look at the under.
And, you know, the Trojans last week, they had that game covered again, even without their starting quarterback, with him going down. And it was a backdoor cover by a really underrated Fresno State team that's come on strong last year, and it looks like they're going to have another fine season again from the way they played against Southern
Right. Fresno State was not a cupcake game.
No, it wasn't, because they had 2 bad years in a row, and they've really rebuilt their program back up to when they were one of the stronger teams in the West, and then certainly out here, Fresno always garnered a lot of money, and they were a big point spread winner for years in Las Vegas.
Right, and we know Clay Helton is maybe coaching for his job this season, so you know he's going to want a big win over Stanford.
This would be huge for them, Chelsea. Because,
for sure.
Because they're going with a backup quarterback here, and I think that, like you said, Helton's looking to save his job. Well,
they want a home win against
But it looks
Stanford.
like Stanford's able to play there. They're 7-2 in the last 9.
All right, we got to wind down. Our segment's over. We'll be back with NFL talk on Picks and Parlays.
Not too long ago, it felt good to withdraw your cash from the bank, didn't it? For a vacation or a new car. But today, withdrawing your own cash has become risky. Pat Boone here for Swiss America. According to The Secret War, a new Swiss America white paper, I learned that all banks are now required to spy on you and me for the government, and then report any financial behavior deemed suspicious or unusual. You must read The Secret War. It's free. Truth is, I believe the government's new war against cash is really a war against us all. But the secret is now out. So please, get and read The Secret War.
Pick up your phone and call right now. 800-932-5517. 800-932-5517. 800-932-5517. Once again, that's 800-932-5517.
Are you an active stock market investor? Well, then you know these 3 key words: buy, sell, hold. Those 3 magic words can make or lose you money in the stock market. What if we can show you a time-tested tool that's been helping stock market investors succeed for over 30 years? It's called VectorVest, an amazing system designed to make smart investing easy. The VectorVest system analyzes, sorts, and ranks over 19,000 stocks every day and tells you when to buy, what to buy, and when to sell any stock to maximize your profits in less than 10 minutes a day. And if you call right now, you can test drive our amazing VectorVest system risk-free for 30 days for just $9.95.
800-584-2519. 800-584-2519. 800-584-2519. That's 800-584-2519.
Do you owe $10,000 or more on at least 2 federal student loans? Then you may qualify for new programs offered by the Department of Education. These programs can reduce your interest, lower your payments, and possibly qualify you for loan forgiveness. If you have $10,000 or more and at least 2 federal student loans and currently not in school, you may qualify for one of these programs. Call now to check your eligibility. Student loan advisors are standing by to help you determine if you qualify for these new programs. They can help you reduce your interest, lower your payment, and even forgive a portion of your student loan debt. Take control of your financial future. Make this free 5-minute free call now to Nationwide Student Loans and learn how you can reduce your student loan debt.
800-439-7851, 800-439-7851, 800-439-7851, 800-439-7851.
And we are back here on Picks and Parlays Radio on the Sports Byline Broadcast Network. I'm your host, Chelsa Messenger. You can find me every day on Twitter, and also check us out on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. If you search Picks and Parlays, we're very easy to find. And also, you can find us here every weekday, 1 Pacific, 4 Eastern. Right now, let's get to some NFL football because it's week 1. Finally, no more preseason games to talk about, and finally some real football. We've got Tony T in studio joining us.
Hi, Chelsa. Glad to be here, meeting everybody here in the studio in Las Vegas, week 1 of NFL. I'm excited for this season.
I know, especially in Las Vegas. People like the NFL. They like to bet on it. So it's a big week here in Vegas.
It sure is. And, of course, week 1 can be a tricky week for everybody. I know a lot of the pros, they're very cautious, maybe a few plays. They want to see the teams. There's always big upsets. Remember last year, it was New Orleans Saints getting upset at home against Tampa Bay, a team that was supposed to be really bad last year, and we'll see some of those upsets.
Right. I was about to say, can you get more value on some of these games in week 1 if you see something that somebody doesn't see, I suppose?
I guess so, but you also have to be very selective. And what is happening now, what we're seeing here with a lot of starters not playing, week 1 tends to be an extension of the preseason for some teams.
Right, yeah, especially with new coaches and teams that are learning a new offense. And rookies too, you know, or even like Mitch Trubisky. I mean, he hasn't seen that much of the offense. I know we talked about the Packers-Bears game a little bit earlier. Aaron Rodgers didn't play most of the preseason, but I don't think he needs it. Yeah, I think he knows what he's doing.
Exactly right. We're seeing some of the younger coaches, sitting players, some of the old school coaches. We saw Andy Reid, he played his starters. And if you go back, you look at some of the September records, coaches like Andy Reid gets teams off to really fast starts. We've seen Pete Carroll not as fast with Seattle, but he likes to play some of his starters during the preseason.
Right. All right, so let's get to some of these games because we've talked about preseason enough.
That's right.
Let's talk Ravens-Dolphins. The Ravens are 7-point favorites in Miami. The total is 37.5. These two teams looked very different in the preseason. The Ravens were dominant, and the Dolphins not so much, and they just traded away a bunch of players. So some people are wondering if the Dolphins are tanking. So what are your thoughts on this one?
Well, my thoughts in this game is that, you know, Brian Flores comes from the Patriots. I think they're trying to change the culture. And you saw that a lot with Belichick. He would cut some veterans when he thought they were maybe hit their peak, and we're seeing that with the Miami Dolphins. Flores comes in, cuts a lot of his veterans, going with some of his younger players. And what that does sometimes, it makes you faster on defense. In the NFL, you got to be really fast on defense. If a veteran starts to lose a step or two, that can mean a lot in the NFL.
Right. For the Ravens, I guess we'll see just how good Lamar Jackson is when he's playing a full game against a regular season opponent. Last season, he showed flashes of being really good, and he's a great runner. But you know what? Some people were saying that the book's out on him. There's a lot of tape. People know what you're getting with him. And if you force him to throw it, it's a little different. But this Dolphins defense isn't. It's not the Bears.
It's not the Bears, although they may be a little faster. So you got to be careful with this one. You know, the thing here in this game, we're looking at the Ravens favored by 7, total 37.5. I'm going to go under total of 37.5. I really think, again, you got to deal with that Florida sun. It's going to be hot and muggy. And it may be difficult for these NFL teams, a team like Baltimore there, to handle that weather. Lamar Jackson, I can see the Ravens get a lead, kind of sit on it. We know Harbaugh's tendency. He likes to kick a lot of field goals. Lamar Jackson, not the most accurate. And, of course, last year, an 8.6% sack percentage. So you can get in trouble with sacks in the NFL because you can lose the football. As you talked about, teams have a tape on Lamar Jackson. We saw the Chargers. They may have exposed him in that playoff game last year.
Right. Yeah, I think some of those sacks may be due to the fact that he might be holding on to the ball a little bit longer and he likes to scramble. So, I mean, I don't know if that's an indictment of the offensive line. Meanwhile, the Dolphins will be starting Ryan Fitzpatrick. So I know some people were wondering if they were starting him and saving Josh Rosen for some of these easier games. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think they want to see how good the offensive line is, especially if Rosen is the quarterback of the future. We got to see this offensive line, see if they can prevent Fitzmagic, or will it be pick Patrick. We don't know what we get. We don't know
pick your pun.
Pick your pun. And the thing about it is that's why I factor in the total. He does put up points for the other team. I'm just hoping he puts up one touchdown for the Ravens to keep this game under total. But you're right there, Chelsa. They got the running back with Drake. Of course, they moved their left tackle and their wide receiver draft picks. That's what I was kind of looking at the Miami side. But once they made those moves this week, I could not at all back Miami or the Ravens this one. That's why I'm going under.
Okay, so taking the under, Ravens-Dolphins, hoping the Ravens defense can stifle the Dolphins. Moving on to the Redskins at the Eagles. The Eagles opened as 9-point favorites, and it was actually the biggest favorite as far as an opening line goes because the Eagles, they're a pretty good team. Carson Wentz is a pretty good quarterback. Redskins, not much talent there. And Case Keenum is starting for the Redskins. Jay Gruden is on the hot seat. So a lot of things definitely not pointing in the favor of the Redskins, but what we're looking at is if they can cover.
That's correct. If they cover, when you look at the week one lines, I'm always looking for possible under upsets and blowout victories. This is the one game I think that's going to be a blowout here. I like the Eagles here -9. They've had success against the Redskins. They've won 4 straight against them by 10 points or greater. And last year when they met, the Eagles piled up over 400 yards per game against them in each of their meetings. Of course, Wentz has plenty of weapons in the passing game. I love their draft pick from Stanford. Looking at J.J. Arcega-Whiteside in the draft. Jordan Howard comes over in free agency from Chicago. So they're really loaded with weapons there offensively. And I think they can handle this Redskins defensively. They'll handle Redskins offense. Case Keenum starting. They don't have a whole lot of talent there on the Redskins offensive side.
Right. I think exactly what you said is the Redskins just don't have they don't have the star power, and that's not to say that people need to be famous or recognizable, but it just doesn't seem like the talent is there for the Redskins, especially against a team as good as the Eagles in Week 1. Moving on to the Bengals and the Seahawks. The Seahawks are favored by a lot in this one now. I think it's 10.
It's up to 10. It's a big line here. And I'm not comfortable laying that many points with Seattle. I'm going to take the Bengals here at +10. Seattle usually get off to slow starts to begin the season. They failed to cover 7 and had 1 pushes in the first 2 games the past 4 seasons. So they've been slow starters against the spread. I think this could be one of those games, Chelsa, where they get a short lead and pretty much hold it. And of course, not really fearing the Bengals offense, first-year coach. Andy Dalton, he does get off to good starts.
I was about to say, last season, the Bengals started off really hot. It was when all those players got hurt is when the Bengals really faltered. And I know A.J. Green is out, but there's a potential for them to at least not lose by 10.
Yeah, there is. Of course, you look at the running backs. Bernard, they've got definitely some quality.
John Ross is a pretty good playmaker.
A pretty good running back. They picked
Joe Mixon.
Who I was thinking about.
Yeah.
They can run the ball, and Seattle's rush defense really struggled last year, stopping the run. And of course, we talked about the Seahawks offense. They're kind of limited. No Baldwin, he retired. Who's he going to throw to? They lose Mike Davis in free agency. The Chicago Bears now, the running back position. So now Rashad Penny, the former San Diego State product, now is going to be used as number 2 back. And, there's even talk that the Seahawks want to use their running backs more in the passing game. That kind of goes against Pete Carroll's style of offense. It tells me there's some issues there in their passing game there, and I think the Bengals can hang in this one.
Right. They did add Jadeveon Clowney to their pass rush, so the Seahawks will have another weapon to kind of get after Andy Dalton. But, we saw some major line movement with this one. I think it opened at 7.5, and I think that was before A.J. Green got hurt. But, how much do you take in to affect that it's moved so much? Like, is that a factor? Because now it's +10.
Yeah.
The Bengals are +10 now.
Yeah, that's a big number there. Clowney, he never had double-digit sacks.
Right. There's a reason they let him go,
yeah.
I would say. I think he's good, but the fact that he wasn't even that effective with J.J. Watt there, because, if he's the main guy, he's going to have to take more of the workload. So
exactly.
I think he's good, but I don't know if he's enough to change the points total that much.
Yeah, it doesn't even make sense for me in the move here with the Clowney coming over. We talked about the fact that he didn't have no double-digit sacks. He's been injury prone. Remember in college he was injured. He's had issues all over his body because he plays a fearless style.
Right.
But again, my concern here is the offense for Seattle. I don't think they're dynamic enough to really run up the score against teams, and I think that's why Seattle can hang in. Cincinnati can hang in this one.
Right. Russell Wilson can't do it by himself every week. Because if I have faith in somebody, it's Russell Wilson. I think he's a great quarterback. He's really smart. He's cerebral. He knows what to do when the play breaks down. But at the end of the day, the NFL has so much talent. It's not like college. You know, one player can't make that big of a difference in my mind.
That's right. And also, their kicker got hurt. Hushka, he's out. So they have a first-year kicker now. And, you know, they got to see how it works out for them.
Right.
Jankowski with the retirement.
He was the one that was talking about Carly Lloyd, wasn't he?
That's right.
Which was nice of him. He said, you know what, Carly Lloyd, if you want to give it a shot in the NFL, I'll help you. So, I mean, that'll be interesting for me to see in the Bears game, is if it comes down to a field goal.
Yeah, that's going to be an interesting game there. We brought up that Packers. I want to see how the Packers offense is under
Matt LaFleur?
Yeah. I know you're a big fan of LaFleur.
Well, he's being sarcastic. I am not, because he was the Titans offensive coordinator last season, and the offense averaged 19 points per game. Somehow we still won 9 games, but you know what? I don't see how you fail upwards like that. That's the Lane Kiffin move, and the Cliff Kingsbury move.
Yeah, I was going to mention Kingsbury. I mean, it's very strange hires. Let's go with the young guys, even though the track records aren't the greatest, but they're young. Let's go with them.
I know, because Sean McVay is one thing. He's not somebody who he's one of a kind. He's a savant. He has this photographic memory, and I think people are seeing these young guys, and they're just hoping for another McVay, and I don't think that's the case.
He came in the NFL very young. He worked his way up the ladder.
Right.
That's a difference. These guys just being placed in these high-profile positions without coming up the ladder. That's the difference there.
Right. Matt LaFleur was only the Titans' offensive coordinator for what, 1 season?
Yeah.
So I mean, I just feel like the body of work is not enough. So the thing is, you do have Aaron Rodgers. He's a very smart guy, and he can run the offense with or without a head coach.
Yeah, that's the big question mark for Thursday Night Football. And, of course, I want to see how New England plays without the Gronk and their starting center.
Right. Yeah. A lot of fun stuff to look forward to in NFL Week 1. When we come back from the break, our baseball picks. Stick with us on Picks and Parlays Radio.
Now's the time to travel and be with the people you care about the most. And at Holiday Inn and Holiday Inn Express, we're helping you be there for less. Save at least 25% at thousands of hotels worldwide if you book by September 24th. You won't want this moment to pass you by. So book today at holidayinn.com. Terms and conditions apply.
Do you have a problem hearing the television? Do you need to crank up the volume so loud your family is screaming at you? Then put on your TV ears. TV Ears has helped millions of people just like you hear TV loud and clear without cranking up the volume. For about $60 with a 30-day free trial, you can get your own set of TV Ears. When you wear TV Ears, you can mute the TV volume for private listening or let others watch TV with you. Order in the next 10 minutes and take us up on our 30-day home trial and very special price. TV Ears is a brand hearing professionals have trusted for more than 20 years. And through this special radio offer, you can get your very own for just $60. Just mention promo code RADIO. So put on your TV ears and make everyone happy. 800-984-4207. 800-984-4207. 800-984-4207. That's 800-984-4207.
At 28, I had struggled with opiate and meth addiction for 12 years. I did and said things that the sober me never would have done. One day I realized I was not invincible. I was not exempt. And that's when a friend told me about Elite Rehab Placement. They gave me the tools I needed to get sober, and all it took was the one phone call.
Elite Rehab can help you start to break your addiction problem and get sober in as little as 7 days. And we'll work with your insurance provider to help cover the costs. Plus, we have travel assistance programs to get you here by plane or train. Make this free call right now to learn more. 800-403-5912. 800-403-5912. 800-403-5912. That's 800-403-5912.
Hall of Fame catcher Johnny Bench for Blue Emu. Hemp oil is everywhere, but not every hemp oil product is made the same. Now introducing Blue Emu Plus Hemp Oil. Why not trust the Blue Emu brand that has been the #1 selling emu oil brand for over 5 years? Blue Emu Plus Hemp Oil has been organically grown. It is pesticide-free, non-GMO, made in the USA, and most importantly, odor-free.
Order Blue Emu Plus Hemp Oil today on Amazon or the Blue Emu website.
And we're back on Picks and Parlays Radio here on the Sports Byline Broadcast Network on this Tuesday after Labor Day. We hope you had a great Labor Day weekend. Check us out on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. If you search Picks and Parlays, we're very easy to find, and we always appreciate your feedback. We've talked a whole lot of football, but you know what? It's still baseball season, and you can still cash tickets every day of the week if you have some smart betting strategies for baseball. We've got Joe Duffy with us, I believe. Joe, are you there?
I think so. I am here. Hopefully you can hear me.
He's there. I know. Yes. Aren't you in Georgia? Are you guys getting storms or anything?
I am, but I'm hearing this rumor that you said anybody can be in the studio other than Joe Duffy. Keep him in Georgia.
Well, we don't want to keep you there during the hurricane. If you need shelter, you can come to Vegas.
Along the coast. No, I don't live. I live near Atlanta. I'm a couple hundred miles from the coast. We probably won't even see any rain here. So, fortunately, that's not an issue for me. But yes, for people to the east of me, all the prayers and best wishes and all that other stuff.
Right. So you don't have an excuse for if your video goes out.
No,
praying
I don't.
for your internet connection.
Like a hurricane.
All right, so let's get to these baseball games. Let's start with the Phillies and the Reds. The Phillies are plus 115 in this one, I believe. They're 2.5 games back for that second wild card spot behind the Cubs, I think. And it's Vince Velasquez on the mound for the Phillies. 6-7, 4.86 ERA, 4-2 in his last 7. But he's not a guy that goes deep in games. Usually a guy that goes, 4, 5, 6 innings. So bullpen will be a factor in this one. Lucas Sims starting for the Reds. He's filling in for the injured Alex Wood. 2-1 with a 4.99 ERA, but he's come in mostly in relief. Thoughts on this one?
Yeah, Vicente Velasquez, he's a guy that a couple of years ago, he looked like he was going to be a star pitcher, but obviously he has not been. He's one of these guys who, has the proverbial quote-unquote stuff, but he can't seem to get the ball over the plate. And he's really been pitching batting practice. 15 earned runs, his last 18 innings pitch. I know that the Phillies are, they're kind of tired of him, but it's not like they got an obvious guy to come in and replace him, and they're just going to keep riding him, hoping that eventually he gets his confidence, that his production seems to match his physical abilities. He's actually been worse on the road with a 5.31 ERA and a stunning 347 on-base percentage against, 1.43 WHIP. Compare that to where he's been at home, where he's not that bad, 281. So this is a case where the fact he is pitching on the road does make a pretty significant difference. And, as you kind of said, if the Phillies can get 5 decent innings out of him, that's probably a great pitching outing from him. But all in all, look, if the Phillies are going to contend, if there's one guy that really needs to turn it around, it probably is Velasquez.
One thing I will say, to that note, the Reds ballpark is a hitter-friendly park, but you could say the Phillies offense is doing a little better these days. They won 7-1 last night, I think. Yeah, against the Reds. Yeah. Rhys Hoskins had 2 home runs. Bryce Harper seems to be turning it on. He does strike out a lot, but he hits a lot of homers. So that could be a deciding factor. They've won 2 in a row. Meanwhile, the Reds, they're a lot better at home as opposed to away. They're 27-42 on the road. But this game is at home, so that's the good thing for the Reds. Aristides Aquino, I don't know if I'm saying his name right. He's a rookie, but he's been on fire for the Reds. 15 home runs in 122 plate appearances, which is the fastest of any player in baseball to reach that number. So a big pop to their lineup there. But the issue for me would be Lucas Sims, is how well he can fill in for Alex Wood and how strong that bullpen can hold that lead if they do have it.
Yeah, you're definitely right. And here I go. I got to, date myself again. But Aquino, it's amazing how much he does remind people of Eric Davis. So many people brought it up. And yeah, he's been phenomenal from a power standpoint. And you're right. I do generally think that from a, momentum standpoint, when you have a pitcher that enters the rotation where he's, a part-time reliever, part-time pitcher, short term, maybe you can get a little bit of an emotional lift because the guy's going to have the adrenaline and when you're in the dog days of summer. So that's maybe a slight short-term advantage for the Reds. The Phillies, they've also gone under 8-1 as underdogs, although, as you said, it kind of varies. They were underdogs earlier. Now they're the favorites, so that may or may not.
Oh, they're the favorites now?
Well, they've been right around a pick 'em. I do have the odds, I think, behind it, but yeah, it's been hovering right around a pick 'em all day and going back and forth. But the point is, even if they are laying a little bit of a number, they've still been a pretty good under team under those circumstances. They've also won 6 of 7 as underdogs, and again, it's still the basic idea in a game that they're not necessarily supposed to win. Meanwhile, the Reds, they're struggling. They're 8-15 overall. But yeah, this Phillies team seems to be, underachieving all year. Everybody keeps waiting for the Phillies to fire Gabe Kapler. Even some people thought that, when they brought Charlie Manuel back, they were just waiting for the opportunity to fire Gabe Kapler. I don't know. They seem to like Kapler. The players like him. He's a quote unquote players manager, but it just doesn't seem that his teams are very disciplined when they don't run out ground balls. And there are times where people thought that he should have benched some players this year. So, the Phillies are a team somewhat in disarray. But as you said,
I think they're back in the swing of things, though, because now with the wild card race, these players have something to play for. Something I noticed with the Reds, they've played 5 games in 50 hours. That's a lot. They had 2 doubleheaders in St. Louis. So no matter how you slice it, even if they're on a team plane that's chartered, that's a lot of travel, and it's draining. So, I mean, it's tough when you have that many games in that short of a window, and you have a guy on the mound that isn't a normal starter for you. It's hard for me to have faith in the Reds.
Right now, and I agree with you on the fact that, look, both of these teams could go to some questionable bullpens. I do like the over in this game at about 10.5. So the over is the play. And like you said, the Phillies bats, that's not really the question mark. Everybody's expecting Bryce Harper. They're wishing that he had a higher batting average, but that's not really what they got. He's a great power hitter. He's got, surprisingly good speed. He's basically doing everything that he's been paid to do for them, so he hasn't been the issue. And as you said, Rhys Hoskins, another tremendous player. So their bats are working pretty well, but it's really their bullpen that's a big question, and certainly their starting pitcher tonight has been a huge question mark.
All right, looking at the over in that one with the line sitting at 10.5, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to the Mets and the Nats. Jacob deGrom and Max Scherzer, a great pitching matchup there for these two teams. Jacob deGrom 8-8 with a 2.66 ERA, and he's been really good since the All-Star break. Meanwhile, Max Scherzer, obviously one of the better pitchers in the game, but he's coming off the IL. I think it's only his third start back, so he still is a little limited. He's gone 4 innings, and 5 innings in his last 3, so it's not the Max Scherzer of the past where he's probably going to go 7 or 8. So I think you got to take that into a factor, because obviously his name probably affects the line, because he is a great pitcher. But you're going against deGrom, who is another great pitcher. So what do you think on this one?
Yeah, and both of these guys have really been the mark of consistency. deGrom, you mentioned his numbers. He's also got a 1.02 whip for the year. Last 3 starts, 2.57 ERA, 195 on-base percentage against. Even by his standards, that's pretty good. And a whip of just .71. So it's a great pitcher who's pitching even better as of late. He's slightly better at night, 259 on-base percentage, and that's in 133 night innings. Any split where you could have a pitcher with a 259 on-base percentage and well over 100 innings, that's impressive as heck. Basically, the challenge would be to find a chink in the arm, and there's really not one. As you said, yes, Scherzer, I think they're bringing him back, but he's about, I think, ready to go. At least 6 tonight, maybe even longer. 266 on base percentage against. His numbers are slightly less dominant at home, but again, he's just consistently good. Also slightly worse at night, but really it's a stretch. There aren't really any chinks in the armor other than the fact that, as you said, Scherzer could be on a pitch count, but this is without question two of the better pitchers, a heck of a pitcher's duel indeed.
Right. Well, the issue I would have with Jacob deGrom is not him. It's the fact that he's 8-8. So he's pitched some great games. He has a 2.6 ERA and has, lost some of these games. And you've seen it with Justin Verlander. You can throw these amazing games, but if you don't have the run support, and if you're looking at something other than a first 5 bet, you've got to take that into consideration, is if the Mets can really back him up. They took 2 of 3 from the Phillies, but they were swept by the Cubs before that. So how much faith do you have in the Mets to win this one?
Well, I think there is some reason to believe that he could get some production tonight. The Mets they're 16-8 on the road their last 24. That's a pretty impressive 24.4 ROI. They're even better on the run line with a 35.8 ROI, 18-6 run. But conversely, the Nats are playing quite well, 67-29 on the run line since May 24th, and that's a 25.8 percent ROI, and they're 58-28 to the money line. So he should maybe get a little bit more run. Well, maybe not because they're going against a tough pitcher, but the Mets have the ability to give him a little bit more run support. He's had some tough luck there, but yeah, that's another story for another time. But Chelsea, I've always said one of the biggest myths, and I know that your husband's a pitcher, but I don't agree with the old saying that pitching and defense is 80% of the game, as Casey Stengel used to say. I think there's a big myth to that. Give me good clutch hitting, and that's one of the reasons for my success in handicapping. I think I do. Well, I know I do handicap team and pitching stuff. Team and batting stuff a little bit more than most handicappers do, because I do believe that the odds makers tend to over-evaluate pitching.
Well, in the playoffs, it matters, and that's why starting pitchers get paid so much. But we're running out of time, and we need to get to our next game.
Yep.
Astros-Brewers, speaking of good pitching, the Astros have been dominant lately with Justin Verlander and Garrett Cole. Zach Greinke on the mound today against Jordan Lyles. Quick thoughts on this one?
Yeah, and I'll give you my pick. It was on Washington on that game. Yeah, Greinke, as you said, he's been pitching extremely well, though he's off a rare bad outing. I'm not really going to worry too much about that. His numbers are slightly better on the road, which isn't surprising for a proven pitcher, including a 2.45 ERA. But his teams are a combined 6-7 in his road starts. Lyles, 4.55 ERA, 321 base percentage, slightly better at home. Now, here's what's interesting where you got to consider the number. Houston, 19-20, their last 39 on the road. You'd say that's pretty good, right? Well, no, they're a good team. That's minus 12.57 units. And in fact, if you bet against them on all those last 39 road games, you'd be up 24.3 return on investment. So, it's a little bit tough here because Houston hasn't performed on the road relative to the number they're laying, but I would lean towards Houston here laying the $1.43.
So Houston's minus 143 in this one?
Yes, that is correct.
What's the total, and what's your play?
No, it is, yes. My pick is to go with Houston minus the 143.
Yeah, you're getting pretty good value on that, I suppose, since the Astros are such a good team. Jordan Lyles has been a lot better since he's come over from the Pirates, 4-1, 2.51 ERA. So something to consider as well. And the Astros, they haven't been hitting especially well. Justin Verlander threw a no-hitter and almost lost. But I think that's probably some of the better value you'll get on the Astros. Those are our baseball picks. When we get back from the break, we are recapping all of our picks from the day: college football, NFL, and baseball. So stick with us after the break. We've got all of that info for you on Picks and Parlays Radio.
It has been said that everyone has a book in them. But do you have the time or the ability to write your book? Maybe you picked up some skills or had a life experience that you want to pass on in the form of a book to help others. Maybe you want to leave an autobiography for your family. Or maybe you've built a successful business and you want to share your story. At Dorrance Publishing Company, we have professional writers who can help turn your book idea into a finished manuscript quickly and affordably. A Dorrance ghostwriter can provide as much or as little help as you need to complete your book. You'll work directly with your ghostwriter to finish your book faster than you ever could on your own. It's easy to become a published author. Call Dorrance now to learn more. 800-485-6003. 800-485-6003. 800-485-6003. Call right now. That number is 800-485-6003.
Imagine this is your money and someone wants to take it from you. Who is it? The IRS. They want your money, and guess what? They can legally take it, all of it if they want. Remember, they sent you that letter that said, hey, you owe us a bunch of cash and we're going to take it from you. So what do? Fight back by letting our team of experts at the tax helpline work it out with the IRS so you can keep your money. And we're good at what we do. When you hire us, you get a team of guys on your side that know the IRS laws and will fight to save your money. So, if you owe the IRS a ton of cash and you want to keep it, call right now and learn for free how we can help you put it back in your pocket.
800-932-1749. 800-932-1749. 800-932-1749. That's 800-932-1749.
We paid less for our Craftmatic today than we did 20 years ago.
If you're still searching for the perfect solution to a good night's sleep, call now for prices and free information on today's Craftmatic adjustable beds. And then decide when you see how little they cost. Rated #1 by consumers nationwide on consumeraffairs.com. Craftmatic beds come in all mattress types, including cool gel memory foam for up to 50% less than today's leading memory foam brand. Enjoy temporary relief of low back pain, poor circulation, nighttime heartburn, mild arthritis. You'll sleep better in a Craftmatic adjustable bed. So if you're still searching for the perfect solution to a good night's sleep, call now for prices and information. And then decide when you see how little they cost. Discover Craftmatic for less, up to 50% less than today's leading memory foam brand.
Call 1-800-371-9608. That's 1-800-371-9608. Call 1-800-371-9608. Call now.
And we are back here on Picks and Parlays Radio on the Sports Byline Broadcast Network and also streaming live on YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. It's been a busy day full of heated discussions about football, baseball, NFL, college football. We've had it all today. And if you haven't been paying attention, if you've been sleeping on us, never fear. We've got you covered. Or if you're just joining us, no worries. We're about to recap all of our picks from the day in one little segment. So pay attention. It's coming up. Starting with, what are we starting with? College football. There it is. Nevada at Oregon. Chip Chirimbus is taking the Ducks to cover -23. Stanford at USC, a very interesting game there. Chip says take Stanford. -3. Moving on to our NFL picks with Tony T. Ravens at Dolphins, taking the under at 37.5. Redskins at Eagles, taking the Eagles, -9. Bengals at Seahawks, taking the Bengals, +10. That's a lot of points, so we're taking the Bengals. Joe Duffy had some MLB picks for us. Phillies at the Reds, taking Cincinnati. Or I think we're just taking the over, 10.5. Yeah. Mets at Nationals, taking the Nationals, -133. And the Astros at the Brewers, taking the Astros, -143. Probably the best value you'll get on the Astros, just given the fact that their pitching has been so good. Joe Duffy was trying to tell me that pitching and defense is not 80% of the game. I disagree with you. I think pitching matters a whole lot, and that's why those guys get paid so much. And you'll see it in the postseason. Just watch. We've got plenty more stuff this week to talk about. College football games, NFL games, and more. We'll see you back here tomorrow, 1 Pacific, 4 Eastern on Picks and Parlays Radio. Bet, win, repeat. See you tomorrow.